Well, hi guys, I'm just doing a commentary on this video that you're about to see. A lot of the times when you go fishing, you don't catch anything. I sometimes like to show that, I don't wait to start recording when I catch fish all the time, but I try to make it as realistic as possible. And this is one video like that. I ended up going to a spot that I really didn't know and just trying it out, as a lot of times you do that, and I didn't catch anything, but it is informative. I show you how to rig up for blackfish, and that's what we were going for. Rig up for blackfish and how to use weed for bait, how to put it on the hook, and how to burley up. Use the sand and mixture of sand and weed or cabbage if you got it, cutting it up into fine pieces and putting them in the bucket, and away you go. Another thing that I wanted to say was that the weed that I use was stored for about 3 months in the freezer, and you can do that. A lot of people say no, you can't do it, but I've proven it before. I've caught fish on it. Not this time around, but I did catch fish on it before. And I'll show you the process of doing that, because there are times that you just can't get the weed out there and off the rocks. It might be too rough, or you just haven't got the time. So when you want to go fishing, it's on hand. You just open up your freezer, defrost it, and away you go. So I hope you enjoy this video, and it was a nice afternoon's fishing, but the thing was we didn't catch any fish, but that was all good. Catching fish is a bonus, that's all it is. Well guys, while I'm here, I'd like to show you a couple of books that my father gave me, that he was holding on to. I mean, this was published in 1986. And this one here would be in the early 80s as well, I'd say, that one there, right? And what I found fascinating about it was you just tend to forget, because I mean I grew up looking at books like this when I was young, and the amount of fish they used to catch. They gave no thought to conservation or anything like that, and like there's a picture there with a guy holding a massive flathead, and being proud of that too, where now we just let the big flatheads go because we know they're all breeders. But there's a good thing in looking at these books. And that is the way they used to fish worked. The old basic rules in fishing still apply today. So it's good to look back on in books like this to really see how it pretty much all started, And books like this is what got me into fishing when I was young. I couldn't put them down. I'd go to the school library, and behind the teacher's back I got a book on fishing for marlin, which I would never go to fish for, but fishing intrigued me from a very young age. Anyway, got in trouble with the teacher, but that's a different story. Anyway, so I'll show you some of these pictures, and tell me what you think. Let's have a look at the picture that I wanted to show you. Got it marked in there. Okay, see, you can see right there, see all the amount of snapper there. You got heaps of snapper, and that was legal. I mean, there was no bag limits or anything like that. And also the guy's sitting up there on the beach. Anyway, and look at this massive flathead. It's got a big flathead, but yeah, they never knew anything about I don't know, he might not know that would have been a breeder or anything like that at that time. I remember many years ago they used to nail the heads just down the road down here where I live at the boat ramp. We got a telegraph pole, and they used to nail the big heads on the telegraph pole just to show everyone that there's big flathead in the area. They used to nail the heads of flatheads and also jewfish. You certainly don't see that anymore. And you also got, you know, I mean, it's a good book. I mean, for that time. It's just, you got something, a little write up here about blackfish and how to put the weed on, and that's how I put it on actually. Yeah, so if you can get your hands on some old books, old fishing books, you know, like, it's worthwhile. I don't know what this one here's got. Look at them all fishing on the beach, and they're all using albies. There's no egg beaters, all albies. And that's me, I'm old school too. I got an albie, that's what I use on the beach all the time. I love them. Oh, geez, look at the size of these tail. And the old albie. Yeah, I love the old books. Alright then, enough with all that. Here's the video. We are at a spot that I seen the other day. I'm going to try for some blackfish. I don't know if they're here or not, but we're going to give it a go. We've got a little bit of a breeze coming from the northwest. Anyway, I'll show you how to rig up, how to do your burley. You've got to mix some sand and some weed up to get the burley happening. And yeah, we'll go from there. Well, the first thing we have to do is get some sand in this bucket. What we need to do is make some burley up. We'll get some sand and some weed. We cut the weed up with a pair of scissors into small bits, and we mix it up with the sand. It's pretty simple. I'll show you that process as I go along. Okay, that's the weed. Now I label all this. On this one I've got the weed, it's weed, where it comes from, and the date. And this one here is cabbage, and I'll put the date on it. So what it is just weed wrapped up in newspaper. There you go. And this stuff is absolutely fantastic to catch blackfish. That's how I keep my weed. This weed here has been frozen for about 3 months now, and I just defrosted it now, and yeah, it's good to go. And all you have to do is you put some weed down on the paper, you roll it up, right? When you get it, you roll it up, you step on that on the paper. Make sure that all the water comes out of it. The paper will soak most of the water up. Take it back out again, do the same process, step on it again, and then just fold it up like that. label it, you're good to go. So I've got a few of them made up there, and that's the way I store my weed. Well guys, I've got the weed here. I'm going to cut some weed up and some cabbage up into small pieces, and we're going to put it inside the bucket full of sand, and that'll be our burley. So we just take the weed out. It's best to just pull it all apart like that, because it's all squashed together. But that'll be enough to put in that bucket. Plenty. And what we do is we just chop it up into tiny pieces. The sand helps to get the weed in through the column of water. It'll send it down to the close to where you're fishing, the bottom, and it won't be taken away by the tide as if you would just throw it in the water. This is what I've done for years on end. I've always come away with fish. Not too good on the old scissors, but doing the job. And you just mix it all the way through that sand. Sometimes the blackfish just has to see the sand going in the water, and that'll attract them without the weed in it. The weed in it definitely is a bonus. Okay. Well, I'll show you the rig that I use. First of all, we'll start down with the reel. This is an old Bakelite reel, an old center pin. And it was given to me by an old mate of mine who's long since passed away now, old John. Anyway, they're fantastic reels for blackfish fishing. Obviously they don't make them anymore, but yeah, they're a great little reel. And I've got about 11-foot rod, and start up the top here. I've got a stopper knot. I don't know if you can see that, there's a stopper knot there. And then I've got a little bead running up to that stopper knot. And that bead's there only so the knot won't go through the eye of the float there, for the first eye. Then I have another little bead, a swivel, another section there with the sinkers on to another swivel. Yeah, you want the float to sink about that far. So as you're fishing, you know, if you need to put more weight on, do so. Yeah, the little split shots are fantastic for that. Anyway, after that swivel, I've got two droppers with 2 hooks, one on each. They're size 8 hooks. You see them, size 8, and that's pretty much it. The weed will float in the current like that. You just got to get the right depth for the water you're fishing. Okay, away we go. Okay, this is how I put my weed on. Just grab a few strands of it like that. And wrap it around the top of the hook first, and then around the shank. And then the same with the other side, like that. Then just a half hitch on the top, not over the top of the hook, just over the top of the weed. And that's it. Now just trim the excess off, and that's it. Well, it looks like I'm going to another spot. There's nothing here today. The water looked good, but yeah, it's the first time I fished this spot, and yeah, it's no good.